Good morning, folks. We've got to look at our top stories of the day, but also a review of the changes ongoing throughout our solar system shift. It's not just Earth that's changing. We've got coronal holes, one bright active region coming in on the south, and a plasma filament down there as well we'll see closer in a moment. Solar flaring remains low. We've had no significant eruptions, but we are going to have eyes on this plasma filament as it turns in, because with the filament's chromospheric extension going north, the darker line, if it erupts, it will have a good chance to do so equatorially through the solar system and at Earth, eyes open as it turns in to face our planet. Quick look at the solar wind. Top left, we see purple rise again as a second component of the coronal hole stream arrived, but it was weaker, and Earth's magnetic field was already up out of bed with its hands up. Beauty and ignorance in our aesthetic shot of the day. New magnetic field mapping of M82 showing the poloidal to toroidal flows. They correctly identify the torus jet feature at large scale, but they mistakenly model these as open fields. But just like the IMF from the sun, they are not. They all wrap all the way back around and form a grand system. Let's go to some of the science with the seismoelectromagnetic satellite. Our very first paper is cited in some of their mission statements and white papers, and it's the only satellite up there capable of spotting pre-seismic signals at the small scale. Today, we learn that it continues its now long list of discoveries showing how the pre-earthquake electric signals evolve over the days before the rupture. Read our paper and all about electroquakes at quakewatch.net. Folks, it will be a few more days until the official global climate report is out, but Dr. Roy Spencer helps run a lot of the data and always gives us a little update a little early. Globally, it was another drop in temperatures. Given the start to February, some regions are descending still. We're going to go next to animal magnetism. Cryptochrome 1, discovered in the eyes and antennae of monarch butterflies, aiding in the magnetosense of the species. This would be less for migration in this case, and far more for identification of time of year and certain plants, not unlike how bees see flowers differently than we do. Folks, they have confirmed SGRA East is a Type 1AX supernova remnant. These are like both recurrent nova and normal Type 1a supernova in that they require the accumulation of material, but the Type 1aX is notably less powerful than the normal Type 1a supernova. To put it into perspective, let's go back to the chart of cosmic blasts, from solar events down to Fantasia at the bottom. The 1ax blasts are weaker by about 100 to 1,000 times, which actually means this supernova category should technically be extended down to include the 10 to the 40 erg blasts, well within the classical nova range as well. If you are new here, we use this chart to highlight the solar micronova power, not just that evidence says its top blast exceeds many other known nova. Small ones do happen, but because it's relevant under the influence of the galactic current sheet, currently setting the galactic magnetic reversal into our solar system in about a 200 to 300 year event amidst a longer 12,000 year cycle. We're about 160 years into this one. We have gone over the evidence, how it meets at the solar micronova from both geophysical evidence and the galactic astrophysics. We've gone over how the nearby stars in line ahead of us are taking record outbursts, and we are next. But now let's review what's happening in the solar system already. Venus' fastest winds are getting faster. A relative change on Earth would have us with 300-mile-per-hour hurricanes and tornadoes. It's also changing its rotation speed, much more than Earth's recent millisecond speed up. After warming faster than Earth, InSight has now begun detecting increases in seismic activity on Mars, and they say these increases are unexplainable. Jupiter lost a stripe. It witnessed the birth of a new superstorm, and most importantly, the radio emission from its magnetic field is changing. The 30-year storm on Saturn came over a decade early, first time since it was first spotted with scopes in the 1800s. Saturn is also changing its rotation speed, despite the incredulity of even some of the scientists on the team. Uranus and Neptune saw record storms and even auroral displays, but what recently happened on Neptune would be like tropical systems forming in the Caribbean and heading east to Africa. Not possible without a major planetary change. And of course there is Pluto. It was checked and rechecked and, yep, it lost a fifth of its atmosphere as of the latest, a 2019 reading. But while they initially believed it had occurred in 3 years, which is a disaster, the 2018 process data now shows no decrease, meaning they lost 20% of their atmosphere in only 1 year. The collapse of Pluto, the reversal of Neptunian storms, changing rotation rates, changing magnetic field radio production, changing winds, storms, aurora, and seismicity, all tied to electromagnetism that would get worked if those other planets are undergoing their magnetic cycle events just like we are.